Hey, folks in Atlantic Canada, how's it going? How did you like that huge carbon tax spike over the summer? Did you notice how much your pump price jumped up? Well, that's because Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has forced his mandatory minimum federal carbon tax onto you. Yeah, so that means you're now paying 14 cents extra per liter for gasoline and 17 cents extra per liter for diesel. But you know what's coming? Winter. Winter is coming. And the carbon tax makes home heating fuels more expensive. Yeah. So if you're one of the many households in places like Nova Scotia that still uses home heating oil, buckle up because it's going to cost you 17 cents extra per liter. Yes. So if you do the math, for the average Nova Scotia household that uses furnace oil in the winter, that's going to cost you about $270 extra this year. Really similar costs for folks who are using propane for their main source of heat. That's going to run you about $250, $260 extra just this winter, just in this mandatory minimum carbon tax. For the tiny handful of people who do manage to heat their home with natural gas on the East Coast, it's going to cost you around $270 or so extra to heat your home. Now, we got to be clear here. I can already hear the politicians standing up on their hind legs and saying, "You're going to get more than you pay back." That is not true. The Parliamentary Budget Officer, the independent watchdog for the federal government's budgeting, has already stated that the average Nova Scotia household, for example, is going to be out around $400 this year just because of the carbon tax, with rebates factored in. I'll say that again for the kids in the back. This is net costs. The average household in Atlantic Canada, in places like Nova Scotia, are going to be out around $400 extra just in the carbon tax. Do you have an extra $400 lying around your house? Is your budget just bursting with surplus cash right now? Probably not, because a bunch of us are really struggling right now. We are seeing record demand for things like food banks, and that is often coming from working families. What that means is a parent who's holding down a job is still counting on donated cans of applesauce and jars of peanut butter to feed their kids. And now you've got a massive new carbon tax that is going to nail you on your home heating bill just the same as it nailed you when you were filling up this summer. And for folks who really care about emissions, if the issue of global emissions is what keeps you up at night, like you can't stop thinking about it, guess what? You paying the carbon tax, your carbon tax punishment here in Canada means nothing. Nothing. The Parliamentary Budget Officer and the Prime Minister himself, by the way, a few years ago in French, both admitted basically this. Even if we stopped everything in Canada, if we stopped driving to work, if we stopped eating food, if we stopped heating our homes, if we all went into a cave and died and stopped existing, it wouldn't make a dent in global emissions. If you really want to tackle something like global emissions, fine. But you're going to have to deal with the big end of the arithmetic problem there. Around 300 million people in India burn wood scrap right now and other things every single day just to heat their homes and to cook their food. The emissions that comes out of that kind of fuel use are staggering, not to mention the terrible indoor air quality. So 300 million people burning that kind of fuel every day. But guess what? India wants to buy natural gas. Guess what we have lots of? Natural gas. So if you really want to reduce global emissions, if that's what you want to target, why don't we sell them our natural gas and tackle the big end of the arithmetic problem? Because punishing Canadians, including Atlantic Canadians, here in Canada for driving to work and for surviving the winter by heating their homes is not helping the environment. If you're sick of getting screwed with high taxes, help us. Join our fight. Go to our website, taxpayer.com. Sign the petitions against these carbon taxes. That's how we're fighting for taxpayers.